Boom. It looks like I have sound. It says that we are live. Hello, world. Patricia O'Connor here tonight is a return to Saturday Night Live Bonsai. And I have my dog is just out of frame. She's probably needs to be a little bit more over here, but she's not. She's more over here. So she'll probably make an appearance at some point. I'm moving monitors so I can see it better. And what we're looking at tonight on the program, Saturday Night Live Bonsai, and what we're looking at is something I've been kind of looking forward to getting my hands on for quite some time. Uh, this is our Dawn Redwood, and we have our work cut out for us, but it should also be fairly rewarding. And um, we're just going to give this a once over. I've got to go down below here and cut away some stuff, and then I've got some a field of infinity field of clover there that I've already emptied the waste paper basket, and it's standing by ready to just take all the cleanup from that. And then from there, we will move up, and some of this stuff will fall off at the touch. Some of it is still green. If we don't wreck it, it can still have it as far as I'm concerned when we're done with it. If it's still there, it can still photosynthesize. Uh, More power to it. But this was a good time to get on this, and it's starting to show us some fall colors, like its cousins, the bald cypress, are already starting to show us some fall colors. So, hi Lee, and hi Owen. How is everyone tonight? I hope everybody can hear me good. I see the little balls lighting up across the bottom of the screen that shows sound next to a microphone, so that tells me that it hears something. Um, so with all we have to do, uh, eventually I will work my way up, and we're going to make some real world decisions. I've just kind of been looking at it a little bit before I jumped in the shower and put on makeup and stuff. And I see there's some cool ways to go here, but we have a little bit to do. So I should probably stop fooling around with, I should probably just stop fooling around. Um, So this is a a box tree. By box tree, this is you Google um, bonsai trees, and sometimes you will see. Whoa! Sometimes you will see. Should probably do that with a different pair of scissors rather than mom's good scissors, as they say. And sometimes if you Google like bonsai trees or something, you'll see bonsai nurseries that kind of deal with mass produced trees. Like they'll have a sea of colanders, or seedlings, or two-year old trees, 3-year old trees, 4-year old trees, and they go up exponentially. But they've got like hundreds at a time. All those. Why is my main table sitting kind of wonky? Okay, all right, whatever it is, I can deal with it. So this is one of those. This is the tree that came from like a mass production bonsai facility, uh, possibly overseas. I got it. I got it from a company that is in Mississippi. Uh, they probably didn't start this from seed, although they could have. They probably bought it. It probably came uh, with this pot, which is a glazed uh, Chinese pot, I believe, and it is also appropriate, and more about that later. It's appropriate. Well, it's not more about that later. It's appropriate because look at all those. That's a lot of roots down there. So we'll start. We'll start with this. Ow. uh, cleaning out this mat of escape roots, which gives us a little room to work. Uh, this was one of my first trees, and I think I think my motivation behind it was having not lived well. I had to. I'd been here before, but I thought I would enjoy the California experience by having a variety of California redwood. And I Googled that, and this came up, and I bought it. I bought it by mistake. What I what I would have wanted, or what I would have really been asking for, because I'm just looking back at. I mean, this was fine. I was absolutely totally cool with what I got in all regards. But what I was asking for in my search was actually, and I didn't know to say it by name, was a coastal redwood. All right, this pot could also use a little bit of a cleanup. All right, so what I have is I have my, we're sitting on my bonsai table, and my bonsai table has a stainless steel serving, big old rectangle serving tray in it, so Pat can slop and gom a little. And laying in that tray, I have a whole lot of tools. I have a lot of. I have cutters, hybrid cutters, broom, scissors, the Nipex pliers that you'll see again on another video that'll get posted later tonight, which was me going through and doing a little pruning on the balcony. I picked out 3 trees that had long shoots, and gave them gave them 2 minutes apiece, and then managed to stretch that out for 16 minutes. But we also looked at the fall colors on the cypress trees. They're looking really, really kind of colorful right now. Not some beautiful colors like the rust colors that like I one year we had a cold snap, and just over the course of the weekend, those trees went from to just this vibrant red color. It was just, I thought it was stunning, and it was well worth the price of admission, as they say. If if I don't see that, but once every if I don't see that, but once every 5 years, I will still be thankful for that. It was really pretty, I thought. So right now, what we're looking at is some nice yellows. It's starting to do this green to Van Gogh yellow thing, which I really like. And while we were showing off, all those colors, um, I went through and pruned our trident maple back a little, and I pruned back 2 of our oak trees, our cork bark oak and our coastal oak. I just did what some people call pinching, except I didn't pinch them. I did it with scissors, uh, but I just did the tips, just the tips. So and then we'll probably get some benefits from that, and more about that in that show. I was just kind of going on about a show we did today that we'll release later, while I was removing some of these, part of these uh, weeds, this clover looking stuff. Oh, clover. I'm not your biggest fan, really, I gotta say. when it comes to the clover, I am not the biggest fan. This stuff comes back so fast. And having let it get bad at one point, uh, it is, to my way of thinking, always going to do that until I do a repot. And when I do a repot, I will have to be more thorough than a repot would say doesn't have clover infestation. Yeah. But we looked at and got, and we're hoping to get a lot of growth on this Don Redwood. As you can see, if you've watched for a while, the way I treat the bald cypress, the way I treat the bald cypress is kind of, I kind of have a plan in mind, and I pretty much stick to it. And it's because of that, I break my own rules a little bit. But like I'll say, I'm not going to prune anything back on this until late fall, and then I'll see something that I think is an exception to that. But still, in all, for the most part, that kept me from doing anything like in the old days. I would go through and decide to style that tree so that it would look, so that I could see it. I could see the tree that I planned for it to be later. Uh, Having looked at that tree for a couple of years, I can see clearly the um, the bald cypresses or the swamp cypresses that I hope those trees to become. And I don't really at this point have to go chopping away um, 2/3 of its foliage to create some silhouette that frankly would way slow down the production of the tree. I probably gave up a big part of the first year because I thought that I would make the tree look desirable, even though it wasn't ready to be in, the ball cypresses, even though I thought I would go through and do branch selection and just go through and make it all look just absolutely. And I mean, I would do that in spring and set it up to look nicer and nicer and nicer throughout the summer. But all that was really doing was at the tree's expense, one, and that was also at the expense of time. It was going to take longer to develop all three of those trees and all four of those tops by doing that. And now I just I let them go, and by letting them go, I feed them, I water them, and I let them go. And what we're trying to do is on those trees is create a lot of lumber because we have to create a lot of taper. I have to take something that's this big and have it taper down to something that's so far this big, and the part that's this big has to obtain all that mass. So uh, by trying to make everything nice and showy 10 years ahead of time is a great way to turn that into 20 years ahead of time if you're not careful. Or worse, you could just find that you're constantly sucking the energy out of the tree that way. And why I'm getting around to that was I experimented on this tree uh, when I first got it. I reveled in its bark, its appearance. I did not like the part where it had branches that were wired in front of a very flat, non-tapered chop that was about this high. It would just look like a broomstick from here to here, and the chop on top looked like it was probably done 30 minutes before they put it in a box and sent it to me. Hi Jay, how are you? Yeah, I saw your video today and absolutely loved it. And I also loved the pre-show that you sent me a little while back, where I got to. And if you noticed, I went from one end to the other. That was a fantastic, fantastic shoot, and thank you for all of that. Anyway, I'm going on to Jay of Blue Jay Bonsai. And his videos that he was doing about some of the local shows that he has been attending and dropping videos about in Canada. So, yeah. Anyway, Jay, tonight we're working on uh, this Dawn Redwood, and I had let it get pretty weedy. So, we were going to start with that. And I also, so when I first got this tree, I thought the best way to deal with that non-taper chop was to get some carving tools, and I did. I got some medieval looking carving devices, and I also got some. I also got some stuff that you would work on deadwood with that I will probably never really work on deadwood with at the time. I've since learned that most of the time that stuff leaves marks and stuff. Maybe I've got a lot to learn about that part. I've still got a lot to learn about that part. But anyway, I digress. I bought a lot of tools, or some tools. I started buying my collection of tools when I got this tree, and I did so because of what I saw this tree needing. It needed some kind of tree work. And also I knew that on my ball cypresses, I could see that I had a lot of woodwork ahead of me on that. So that's where the chainsaw came from. That's where the Makita router came from. I mean, yeah, I started. Yeah, I was going to be a regular woodworker there, or a woodchuck there at one point, uh, carving trees. But I haven't really, like for instance, that cork bark oak. Uh, a lot of people would go to town on that guy, and some of them might really, it's got all the right things. It's got mass and it's got age. So uh, it might very well lend itself to some cool woodwork. But on this tree, what I thought that I would do at the time was let it go cathedral style. And I did. And we let it go cathedral style for a little while. And while we had that going, it it conformed to that so quickly. And I had a lot to learn about timing. One, it made the tree that I kind of wanted it to be very quickly, and then very quickly proportionately grew out of that. I was like, oh wow, that was kind of fast. And at the same time, uh, I thought this was something that I would be able to do within a couple of years instead of 5 or 6 years. So that's why I went with the multiple crowns, of a cathedral top. That's what I mean by cathedral. I was going to take that one chop and let a couple branches go up and make our apex. So that, because they grow fast, and because it was a healthy tree, and all of that kind of stuff, and because it had been fed right up until then anyway, uh, it grew really, really fast, and blew right past all dimensions. And that really had me thinking, I wish I'd have stuck to my guns and just made a formal upright. I would probably be two-thirds of my way to a formal upright had I just stuck to one top or one apex instead of three apexes, because I got there really quick, and now it's all getting disproportionately huge, and I've got a lot invested in each one of these apexes and all this kind of stuff. So then I did a massive restyle of the tree about a year after I got it. Massive restyle. I got it, I styled it, And I sat back and watched it, and then a year later, I did a massive restyle, and and also I hadn't learned a thing about feeding. Had not learned a thing at all about about feeding. So I was taxing the tree, and that second restyle right after that, I don't remember what happened. I think it responded and it looked good, and I started liking what was happening there. And right after that, I believe it might have been spider mites or heat damage or something. Something didn't go our way, and I had already, in other words, actually, let's back that up. Doing all of that stuff, I had already weakened the tree to where the next thing that happened was preventable, probably had I not uh, taken so much of the tree's resources, and then um, and then change ship, only to take its resources and go another way, and then after that, still all the while not feeding it properly. Uh, so all of that combined, we had a couple of issues, and the tree just packed it up. Said, "I'm done this year. I'm not doing anything this year." So the following year, the following spring, we waited forever for signs of life, and about the time, about the time we were wondering if we were going to pack it in with this tree, it just sprouted out again and took off. And then before, and we tried to arrange stuff and tried to get it back in line, and a lot of what we wired either died or had other problems. The tree just kind of started this decline of not really digging our stuff. And it was because of that that I looked over at this really large tub of bald cypress trees that I had, and I knew it was a close cousin. And I went, "This is what it looks like to suck the energy out of something so bad that you can't now reel it back in into something that's believable or tasteful or any of that, or or any of that." So uh, this tree has been on the back burner for a couple of years, and part of that, uh, I quit messing with it and stopped weeding it. I don't stop feeding it, and it still percolates really well. So I don't really, I think I should keep it cleaner and all that stuff. But the tree's doing what I'm wanting it to do, and that's just to grow out um, grotesquely. But we had a lot of issues. We have a lack of growth down here low, which I think um, kind of hurts our design a little bit, and uh, we just have a couple of veins that so far have been given up stuff. But to to that end, those veins do start down here. So at some point, they could still be encouraged to put out something farther down. Uh, that is something these trees do, and I would encourage that. But what we did do originally was carve the tree into a vampire stake, and then pick a new top. And through all of that stuff, we killed our new top twice, um, trying to make something that looked right. Both times we had a nice looking tree, and then the following year, none of that stuff came back. So that's where we were. So it's had a couple of years, and we've learned several lessons about sucking the energy out of trees, and having learned that pretty much on this tree and having regretted it, we kind of done away with all of that. The tree still has great bark and has a great trunk and will lend itself to the cleanup pretty well. I could do a little more here to do a little bit more down in here. Let's see. Got just a couple of knobs sticking out where they weren't buttresses, but they were unsightly roots. They were unsightly roots. So I got those guys. I just took care of those guys right quick. Now we're going to go through and the stuff that's going to come off. I'm just going to go ahead now. And you can see it's just like touch it and it's gone. Even, yeah. So what we have here is a couple of leaders. Only we have a vein here and a vein here, and they extend all the way up. And I got to the point to where I believe I had styling choices in mind. I've got to remember what I was doing last time to some extent, and also at the same time, I will have had a whole lot more choices. Will have grown out on the tree since last time I looked at it. So I know what I was thinking last time, but I have to look now and see whether or not I have better choices or better options than that. So I don't want to go too fast on this guy. Don't have to worry about that. We started off weeding, and I've still got to. I need to go through and rake all of this and pull a lot of those weeds out. I don't think I need to do this on a live show. We've got too much to do up here. Oh, yeah. These guys love, love Dawn Redwoods. Outside of this apartment, there are coastal redwoods on the premises. There are several. They're beautiful. They look very similar. The difference being the leaves are thicker, like thick, like all of these look similar, but they're thicker, and they're the kind of waxy thicker that would last all year because the tree is an evergreen. And but a lot of in uh, quite a few ways, it looks very similar to these. Uh, I love whenever I'm working on these, and whenever I'm working on the bald cypress too. I love to talk about the history, the history of these trees. For years and years and years, they were thought to be extinct. They only knew of them in a worldwide sense through botany and through archaeology. They would find their leaf imprints in coal that was, whenever they mined coal, they would find like million-year old, 2 million-year old, bazillion. These guys predate insects, and they knew from the fossil evidence that they existed worldwide, and they were like an adaptation. I'm not saying don't know which one came first, but these guys and the swamp cypress, um, Taxodium ditchum, occupied early Earth, and they predate insects. Most of our coal deposits would have been these guys because there were no insects. There were no insects to eat the dead trees. A tree would grow up, and when it finally died, it would fall over and lay there. And they thousands of years of that, and there were piles of trees everywhere that got covered up by dirt and settlement and dust and layers of needles and other trees, and millions of years later, that would become our coal deposits. And uh, since then, insects have come into being, and they break down things and and are part of a cycle in an ecosystem that I don't believe would allow for the formation of coal deposits like was able early Earth was able to make. And most of it was a tree that they thought was extinct. And then after uh, in the 1940s, I think it was in the 1940s, the late 1940s, uh, somebody in China reported seeing a redwood that loses its needles and its foliage every year. And come to find out, I say come to find out because in the research I did, they just mentioned like very as a matter of as a matter of factly that that they haven't heard this. They sent members of the Redwood Society. I mean, of course, in the 1940s there would be a Redwood Society, and so these guys went out there to China and looked and saw that the locals had been growing and harvesting and using for wood this species, this local species of redwood, and it didn't live anywhere else in the anywhere else on the planet. Um, had the last places that it had lived had been wiped out during the last ice age, and this one pocket of trees survived the last ice age, and the rest of the world didn't know anything about it. And I think the way the story goes is when discovered, there weren't any virgin forests. So in California, we can go to some redwood forest and see some trees that are thousands of years, thousands of years old that you, me, and everybody currently in the chat room could not join hands and reach around the enormity of these big suckers. But these guys, it was pointed out to me once that we've never seen these in the wild in virgin forest that weren't axed at some point. Even when discovered, this was a local tree that the locals had been harvesting and using for years. So if there were some there weren't any many hundreds of year old species to be seen laying around there already by that point. But they did go up there. They got uh, I mean, they got cones, they got cuttings, they got seedlings, they did everything. And within a few short years, the Dawn Redwood was pretty much back uh, all over all over people's gardens and all over people's uh, landscape designs. And it is a pretty hardy tree. Uh, I'm not the only one who has had trouble who has had trouble getting these guys to behave. But having said that, I was ready to make all of my very very first rookie mistakes, and this was my guy to be doing that with. I see some really, I think, some pretty cool ways to proceed here. I don't know if I want to. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to go with some decent wire on this. We're gonna cut back some of these branches. Uh, maybe not all that we see. Sorry, downstairs. I'm dumping wire on the floor. Um, Not sorry enough to stop doing it. So quite a bit. I see quite a bit that I want to cut off. I don't know how much of that I'm going to cut off this time around. What I've learned about kind of like trying to hang on to what you got, and what I've got is some of the regained vigor and vitality in this tree, and what I don't want to give up is that. So when I go chopping off, there's a lot here that probably needs to go, and will. Uh, I don't know if I'm going to do it all tonight or this season. Some of this, some of this maybe could wait. We'll decide on that too. A lot of work today for these guys. My Nipex. So I'm looking at some branches on here that I know that at the end of the day I'm going to want to wire down, and there are some other branches that at the end of the day we get to have a we get to get rid of it. Um, Looking at a piece of wire, I don't understand. Here, a bullet. Okay, not really a bullet. That was from so that was from an old wiring job. This branch here is especially thick and heavy. It was the foundation for this leader, which is now, to my way of thinking, doing fairly well on its own. And we're gonna say um, thank you very much to that guy. I've got a flat edge here. I'm gonna try to my first cut here. Try to minimize. Yeah, boom, boosh. All right, that's a big cut. So the reason for that is we have this guy, and we like that guy. We think we think that branch is doing wonderful things. And we're gonna clean it up a tad. Oh yeah, okay, sure. So I'm using the straight edge on here to try to make my first cut be a good one. Yeah. And I still have a bud right here. That's awesome. That thing's full of buds as far as that is concerned. Okay, this is going. I like the way this is going. I'm just going to start at we're just kind of start at the bottom, and we're making our decisions as we go up. Uh, One decision was to not cut this. So this is my bottom branch on this side. This could be, it's kind of thick. If it breaks, it breaks, but this could also be our bottom branch over here. And we could let it get a little more, we could let it get a little bit more mature, a little thicker. We could wire it now and have it been down here. And then I could go back through, it's covered in buds. I don't want to knock off. But it's got this huge base here. And this is also the base of the leader that makes the second. There's two branches here that we want to join at the top to make an apex. And what we have is a lot of huge knotty growth that we needed because that was the living vein on the tree, and everything else we tried to do didn't work out right. When we tried to trim this back, we trimmed it back and got nothing in return, not even a shoot. So this was our bottom limb, and it had a sprout on the top. So we promoted that sprout on the top by letting all this stuff get bigger and huger and bulkier and all that. Well, that little sprout turned into this leader, which we will be keeping, and we'll be doing some work to it in a minute. And then on the other side, we have the same deal. We're going to do a little bit of carb back on it. So we've got kind of twin towers coming there. But unlike the bald cypress, I would like for these two trunks to merge. I would like them to fuse. I'd like them to become a fusion. So what is this dead trunk, which was my original vampire stake, as I call it, is already starting to get wraparound from here, and it's already starting to get wraparound from here. And as those two come up, if I get them to fuse, that'll be the tree I want, and that will allow me to work on with a carving knife big blocks of wood that I've kind of had to put up with because it was the living vein of a tree that was dying back, and I had to promote whatever there for a minute, right? This is covered in buds. That's probably not the best thing because, well, I don't know if it's going to be a bad thing necessarily, but it's not necessarily the saving grace that it would look like because, I mean, it's November and this tree is not an evergreen. So I don't know if all the buds on the tree are going to hang out all year or not. But I do know I have a piece of wire here for some reason, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this branch in that wire and see if we bring it down to here, uh, how it likes those apples. And if it doesn't, or if we break it, I've got one here that I'm going to try not to mess with too bad. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I've got a backup in the wings in case this doesn't go well. That's kind of what I mean to say there. Fix that. Oh, okay. I hope that's long enough. Also, I've got some daylight here. Yeah, this wire is going to be enough. This wire is going to be heavy enough to do this for sure. This whole leader going up on this side started off as a branch coming out here, and as I wired it up, there is a space here. You know, there's still a space. It's right in here. You can't see it. I can't. it'll fill in. As the tree grows, the tree will widen this way, this will go that way. So at some point, I'm hoping those, uh, if those don't go together in some kind of way that replicates some sort of taper, then I'll just go back and carve it. I'll just go back and carve it in there if I have to. But I think the main thing I'll learn with this guy is to take it easy. Take it easy, Pat. If a tree has an abundance of energy, relish in that, and don't think that you'll just do things to maybe take that energy and then turn right around and grow it and regain it next year. It doesn't work that way. That was 4 years ago. And I'm just now where I was 2 years ago, trying to get the tree back into some kind of shape after having just going, okay, all right, hands off. Everything I've done, you've either killed off outright or decided you didn't like me messing with you and then would just shut off and then I wouldn't see the tree put out a single sprig till late in the following spring. Last year, last year, I waited for this tree to put out branches and it was almost going out to the dumpster. I was going, really? Is it really gone? And I was having that conversation. It wasn't really going out to the dumpster quite yet, but nothing else. I still want the pot. Uh, every dead bonsai tree comes with the free bonsai pot. That's a cold hard rule there. So I just got that to do pretty much what I wanted it to do. I could trim this back some. I could trim this back some, but it's about energy allocation and not getting too scissor happy. It's doing okay. I got that to go where I wanted it to with a simple piece of wire. I don't know if I can show you this any better, but that little gap is right in there. Could be seen. So this is our bottom branch on this side. We got rid of a huge one there. I will put I've got my big tub of cut paste handy. Uh Also, I've got I don't know if you could see it. Got a string here. Cut that loose, I suppose. I've got some garden string. The same garden string you would use to say tie up vines or tomatoes or something. And uh and I used this to tie up the two trunks that I wanted to be my leader, which is good because at some point this thing had gotten so overgrown. I kind of, had probably forgotten, what leader. I had probably forgotten what the plan was. But yet here they are, the two pieces of the show, and it is this leader and this leader, and this one is going off and doing all kind of nothing. Oh, that wasn't good. Well, no, that would have gone anyway. Uh, this one is kind of gone off and bananaed out, and it's got two trunks there. This wood, right? And they are leaning into one another, so they are kind of growing together. This guy is looking little fat for my liking, but it's also the one that's hugging the main trunk in a way that's it's already starting to do that fusion thing. Those are really good scissors. Right. All right. And uh, I used that I used that twine because I used that string, jute. I used that jute string because I thought it wouldn't bite in, and I left it in long enough that the tree grew and it didn't give and it bit in. So yeah, living Lord, not horrible, nothing horrible. All right, so where's my piece of flour? I'm gonna go back to my hunk of copper and we're going to do another guy here. I'm gonna go about that much. Trying not to waste it, but I didn't want to go try to wrestle around a whole bundle either. Okay. The idea here, what I've got in mind, what I've cut this for, is this. Try not to mess with any future buds. Gonna go there. We're gonna bend this guy down here. I hope y'all can see that okay. Now, I think started to stand up, and I'm like, well, we could stand up. I mean, that's getting up off of our fat butt is something we can do, but also we could do this too. Yeah, there we go. There you go, lazy Pat. Uh, I should probably, I don't know. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. That was the idea. These two brings this. That was a good idea, bringing the tree down. These two trunks are going to be, or hopefully, I would like to fuse together. We have a lot of stuff here that's huge. I also have options as to where I cut this huge block of lumber back. It looks bigger to me probably than it does. You can see this truck here. It's just the same thickness here, just about, than it is here. And then this little leader, got a wire on that? No, it's splitting bark because it's growing so fat. Uh, is doing really well. And all of this is about to grow completely out of the show, to my way of thinking. But it was all also part of the energy that that hopefully we will be able to maintain and not zap too badly. So yeah. All right, let's go back. Put a little now. This is copper, so even the smaller gauge of copper wire is it's hard to work the ends. There. Seeing so many bud sites on here that I'm trying to kind of stay away from. Okay. trying to watch where I'm grabbing it because it is. It's covered in buds. I'm like, why you have so many buds this late in the game? Okay. Because we have freakishly warm weather in California compared to what this guy's used to, probably is the answer there. Okay. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do with that. Yay. Yay me. Uh Not a bad branch. I don't think either way I tried to put it works out super great. But we'll just do that again. All right, I'm gonna put I should probably go back. I should probably go back with another string there. It's out of frame. I'm not gonna get up and going to retie this. I'm not gonna retie it with the leftover piece of string. I'm going to out of after show tie this right here. You're just gonna have to trust me on that. Uh, Now we're gonna work our way a little farther. I think, yeah, I know. We're gonna save this branch. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna save this branch for several reasons. The whole thing is just covered in bud, which is which is I would say rather encouraging. This is our new bottom branch on this side. This is our new bottom branch on that side. We've already started eliminating some of the stuff. I heard somebody, an old timer who was very wise, ask, "What was the purpose of this parrot beak?" It At first I thought, "Well, that's an intelligent question. What is the and it is to dig out things so that whenever you get rollover, it won't roll over uh, something that you wanted to be gone. I can carve out the center of things and not leave a high center. That would be the purpose of the parrot beak. Took off almost nothing there, but still. Now the hole is concave. So when it rolls over, it will be minimalized. It won't roll over what was left on there. All right. So what we've done is gotten rid of a big branch that came out over here that was very dominant. Now we've got two branches here that are actually probably size appropriate. This one does have a big knot at the base of it. I can't go carbon on that because that's also the base of this vein that I want to fuse with the trunk, which is also this second leader, which we're going to tie to this leader. Now the thing is, this has gotten uh, pretty darn thick. So I'm looking at quite a few branches here. There's this branch, which is not bad, right? It's already kind of doing what we want. It's coming out the direction. But then I've got what are these going? That's a big no. Why do I have that going on? So I've got this fat trunk, which is the same diameter here that it is here, and I've already kind of brought that up. And then I've got this one growing in the armpit. At a first glance, it would probably seem like cutting that one out of the armpit. Let's see, cutting this one off would be the move. Uh, but I think this branch is already in position to be wired out there, or maybe just chopped back to where it already. Yeah, I'll put a little wire on it. We're wiring other stuff. Why not? And the third member of that trio is this, which I think is which I think is a little, which is just a little uh, too fat already. It's a little too grandiose there. So as soon as I find out, golly, I've got a bigger show here than I could keep up with. Um, where are you at? I'm looking for some cutters that I. Oh, here they are. Ugh, I was looking for these. And I'm like, what did you just do with them? You had them in your hand a minute ago. All right. So yeah, she's obviously got something up her sleeve. She went for the big cutters. Yeah, I'm going to uh, I am going to put a chop to this guy right here, and this branch in the middle that looks like it would be the third wheel of this trio is going to be the new leader. And this little guy off to the side, it is of a size that I wouldn't normally expect to do a lot, but it has already gotten that color to it that says, it's already hardened off, so to speak. It's already gone to that purple color, and it's covered in buds. That might be a cool branch too. Um, I don't think I don't think it would work necessarily in relation to this one, but we can give it a minute. We can give it a minute and see how this all works out. Meanwhile, uh, it is about continuing. It's about continuing the energy that we're putting into certain portions of the tree. Boom, boosh. That was a fairly big. What is that? That is nothing. Okay. That was a fairly big chop. Uh, it's 2 years of growth. It was making that for 2 years, and that was kind of we were letting that go because because of the energy that it would give us. Now we're still trying to get our. Now we're still after all this still trying to get our dang tree back. I want I want my box tree back. So this is still as fat as it was, but now we've got a new possibility when it comes to the leader. This will be this will be our leader. Kadabow. And yeah, I'll get away with that. Well, get that a little more. So I'll put a wire on here. Like most of a lot of my wiring jobs, I, I'm putting a wire on this so I can make it straighter. Uh, does anybody else see the humor in that? I'm just kind of. But we are making it in a formal upright here. We are, at the end of the day, we're making a formal upright with hopefully a beautiful shari feature. A beautiful shari feature. Doing some creative wiring here, trying to dodge these little buds. Maybe futile. When you see stuff that just flicks off, like whatever I touch it, it just flicks off, do not worry. That was stuff that the tree had already decided was a goner. It's that time of year, and when you look at something and it's this green, but you touch it and it goes, yo. That was, it wouldn't have fallen, it wouldn't have come off quite that easy when it's not ready. Anyway, she keeps losing her tools. Tools she lost. Okay. I'm learning to use the tools I've acquired instead of just pressing a piece of copper wire into my thumb until it screams for mercy. Birthday. All right. So we've got some twin peaks there that I hope to uh, watch these guys fuse together at some point. I hope to get something that goes a little like this, and they go up to become, they go on to become something like that, and we'll have this dead feature. Uh, we'll have this dead feature, and when it finally rolls over and is gone, we will have decided that we loved it so much we're gonna go back in and cut it and make it do that again. But by that point, it'll be the only thing that we're doing to it. The tree will kind of be in more in set it and forget it mode. That that is the tree that that right there is a tree that I was wondering if I would see. And I was having doubts and I was having doubts. And it was Steve at Steve's Backyard Bonsai that said, Patricia, you've got all those wonderful fat, happy leaders there. Point them up, wire them up, point them up, let them do stuff. And I just went with that. And we're getting there. I think that was the way to go. And it's been a long time. If I can take this tree from here back outside and have it not just totally freak out on me, but uh, go ahead and go through winter or whatever, and then we'll go through spring and then make out, put out buds, and we take it from there. I'll just be as happy as a clam. Another year or so, and I probably will do a repot. Before I put it back out, I will rake. I'm going to pick up all of my bio gold that's in here and then do a little substrate rake on the top and see if I can do some more and do some more weeding. That's pretty much that's pretty much the tree I was hoping to see a couple of years ago. Every time I try to get to this point, I suck the energy out of the tree and suffer a major setback. Since then, I've learned to be cool, Patricia, and hopefully I was here too. You did see me do a couple of big chops, but nothing like what we've seen what we've seen me do and what we've seen others do. This wasn't there's not a huge carnage. There's not a huge carnage shot here. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I think that is. I can see a tree here that I want. I could see a tree here that's worth all of that. I've still got all of this. This vein for this side of the tree actually starts right here. The living vein, like we're going to call it, for this side of the tree starts right here. So those are both places that while we've got all of this energy going, and while we've cut back all of that oxen and cut back all of those tips and have got all those oxens and all that good stuff running, this would be a good time for the tree to decide to put out some stuff down here farther down, and it could, and I would really love to see that. Uh, yeah, I think. However, if even if we don't get that, I think I could. I think I can make a tree out of this. Maybe a little fatter and a little while longer. Maybe we'd have to take a little bit, go a little higher to make a tree out of these being our bottom branches. You know, but even that's if that's our worst issue, that's we can do that. I see that as something we can definitely do. Yeah, I do have a bar branch here. This is a bigger branch than this one. If I want to keep this one and cut this one, but this one is also anchoring the leader, and it's not a bad branch. It's already kind of doing what I want it to do. I It's probably okay. We'll make a decision on that later. Anyway, that is, I think that's a good place to hold out. I've got a piece of wire and I'm kind of itching to put it on something, but yeah, no, it's okay. We don't have to go messing with anything. What I'm looking forward to is on my fusion. This is already starting to fuse in here. It's already starting to contour to the shape and all that. Putting that, putting tying that back up will go a long way. This is already starting to look really good as far as it's fusing there. Yeah, I've got some wire marks in there. Uh, we'll have to get over those. I don't think it'll take very long to get over those. You know, we've got a couple of years ahead of us anyway. I'm going to call this it. The only thing left to do is to run this string. I'm wanting this inside here to fuse. I can't make this. That's going to be a couple of years away. I can't make that happen right now. Like there is, I could clean that up. So there, just clean that up. So all right. So yeah, I've got some daylight here. I would like for this top to take care of, keeping that tied, keeping both of these guys tied there. Maybe I'll go the extra mile and put a wrap on that, but I got to remember I've got this wire on here, so any tie I put on there is got to be more temporary than the wire underneath it. All right, that's our little return to Saturday Night Live Bonsai. We will probably do a hi Paul Kraus. We will probably do another drop tomorrow. I will go out on the balcony. Also, our next drop will be probably in about 30 minutes. I've got a little bit of finish work to do on a video I did today. It was a little 15-minute. We went on. I did a little went down the line with my scissors and in my Nipex pruners, and I did a little prune work on three of our trees, and we looked at some fall colors and stuff. That was really about all that was. But tomorrow we'll go out and do some. I've got a project I want to do. I want to clean up my literati Japanese black pine. That's a hard tree for me to shoot. As you can see, I have a one camera setup. Even if I'm doing the recorded video and then dropping them later, not like the live, it's still a one camera setup, and that's a long, tall drink of water, as they say. That's a tall tree to try to get into one shot to work on. But I do have some stuff to do. I'll probably do that off camera. I'm going to confess. I need to get that done, and I haven't figured out the way that I would like to creatively, tastefully shoot that tree. It's just too long and too out of frame at the bottom or at the top, or I have to I have to back my camera way up to get top and bottom of the tree in frame, and then nobody can see what we're doing. So that's kind of kept me from shooting it, and wanting to shoot it has kind of kept me from doing it. And so I put stuff off on that tree that I probably put off a little long. That's a little confession on there. But tomorrow we will go out. on the balcony in the sunshine. It's supposed to be another pretty day, I believe, and we will do things tomorrow. We will have you will hear a lot of construction in tonight's video too. Uh, Irony is so ironic. That was Yogi Berra said that. Irony is so ironic. 10 minutes after the video that I'm going to drop in a few minutes, all of the construction noise quit. But you're going to laugh when you hear this. Anyway, like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for coming out to thank you for coming out to my Saturday Night Live show. It's always great to see everybody. We had a full house tonight. We had a full house, and we will do another one. We will do another one next Saturday. Might even get a slightly earlier start on this. Tonight's show started at 7, whereas they had been starting at 8. I could probably get a little bit better handle on this and maybe start a little earlier still. I was thinking that I would hopefully get started by 6. That didn't happen. We were on Pat time tonight. But I appreciate you, and Frida here snoozing next to me appreciates you, and thank you, thank you guys all so much for watching. And that's our dog Redwood. That's what we did to dog Redwood. How about that? Good night.